Well, howdy there, folks. James from Political Friar coming at you again. Let's talk about Joe Biden's trip to Israel and how it went and what happened. There was a little drama. So, in a previous video, we previewed his trip. We said that he's going for three reasons. That's to show support for Israel, first and foremost, get supplies into Gaza for humanitarian purposes so that he can flex a little bit of his influence. And second, to restrain Israel, restrain Iran, restrain Hezbollah. There's no restraining Hamas, but he was going to engage in some personal diplomacy to set the rules that Israel is going to follow in its invasion of Gaza. And don't doubt that there will be one. The delays are practical in that Israel wants to train and wants to prepare the battlefield and conduct an air campaign to attract the Hamas fighters and let the teeth of the supply blockade start to show effect. And then the other reason why it hasn't happened yet is Israel's trying to get its ducks in a row with exactly what it's allowed to do. And Israel and Hamas obviously have votes. Israel is going to want to do everything it can, and obviously the enemy always has a vote about what happens, and the other people have votes too. See, Israel is reliant on its neighbors in the United States for its security. If it oversteps in its war with Hamas, it could find itself in a broader war against Hezbollah first, Iran potentially, and others. And that broadening of the conflict would be bad for everybody, really. So the United States is working on finding the level that will work best for that Israeli conflict. And this trip was supposed to do that. And then, just as Biden was getting into town, the primary hospital in Gaza blew up. Now, I previously speculated that this looks a little bit like Israel playing with local rules, and I think it still could be. There's some video evidence and some intelligence that says, nah, it was a rocket attack gone wrong. It was a malfunctioning rocket that happened to drop its warhead just right on the hospital. It could be two. It could be that Hamas or Iran blew up the hospital on purpose. And why would they do that? Well, it's because the primary effect of blowing up that hospital on the trip that Biden was on and the international situation on the negotiations with Israel about permission of what they can and can't do in Gaza was to have the meeting in Amman, Jordan, scheduled for day two of Biden's trip canceled. And that meeting was supposed to include the president of Egypt, Al Sisi. It was supposed to include the president of Jordan, well, the king of Jordan, sorry, and the president of the Palestinian Authority, the West Bank representative. That meeting was really important if Biden was going to have a credible conversation about just what Israel's going to do. And in that meeting got canceled, it's going to be harder for Israel to know where its lines are. The person who benefits from that, or the entity that benefits from that, could very well be Iran. See, the reason why Iran would want that meeting canceled is it would smack of cooperation between these Arab countries, and I suspect that that's the reason why this entire war got kicked off in the first place. Iran did not want Israel to cooperate with Saudi the way that it cooperates with Egypt. If it was a Egypt, Israel, Saudi, Middle East, Iran would be pretty heavily outweighed, and it would lose its influence in places like Syria and Yemen and Iraq. So, who benefits? When you have something that's kind of unexplainable, who benefits is a good question to ask. And from a certain point of view, you have Iran benefiting from the hospital explosion. You may very well have Hamas benefiting from the hospital explosion because they are doing the classic thing that a kid does when he murders his two parents and then asks for mercy because he's an orphan. This is the terrorist tactic, is to do something outrageous, to provoke an outrageous response, to gain sympathy in the general body politic, and it works. You see pro-Hamas demonstrations all over the world. It's gross. Hamas are despicable, and they do not deserve any of your support. Now, that's not to say that Palestine doesn't deserve your support. Palestine certainly does. And that history is long and complicated, and Israel has lots of blame for what is happening to the Palestinian people. But Hamas as an organization, they're as bad as they come. And so do not support Hamas in the guise of having sympathy or even support for Palestine. Those are two things that need to be separated. Anyway, it's just a thought. Let me know how wrong I am down in the comments, and please like, subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video. Thanks.